Hello, everyone, and welcome to Virtual Craft Night, hosted by the Greater Sudbury Public Library and Greater Sudbury Museums. With Easter just around the corner, why not dive into some old fashioned dyeing techniques? Tonight, I'll be showing you how to make 7 or even more dye colors from items you may already have in your kitchen. While these natural dyes work great for Easter eggs, keep in mind you can use these recipes for many other dye projects you may want to make. For this project, you'll need the following tools: a cooking pot, a stovetop or hot plate, mason jars or small bowls, one for each color of dye that you want to make, a spoon or a pair of tongs, a fine mesh strainer or sieve, paper towel or rags for cleaning up spills or polishing the eggs after they've been sitting in the dye. A drying rack will also allow eggs to dry quickly and evenly. You'll also need eggs, which you can prepare in advance by hard boiling them or blowing out the insides by making 2 small pinholes. White eggs will allow the natural dyes to appear more vibrant, but you can also achieve more neutral colors on a batch of brown eggs. Adding a tablespoon of white vinegar to your dyes can help brighten or adhere the color to your egg surface. And there are tons of different kitchen items you can use to make natural dyes, but today I'll be showing you with the following material. So 1.5 cups of frozen blueberries smashed with a fork, half of a red cabbage shredded, 3 beets shredded, 3 tablespoons of chili powder, 3 tablespoons of turmeric, skins from 7 yellow onions, and a pot of coffee, which I've double brewed. The stronger you brew the coffee, the darker the dye will be. Alright, let's get started. In our first step, we're going to add one of our dye materials to our cooking pot. Cover the material with water. About 1 inch of coverage is a good benchmark. Next, we'll move our pot to the stovetop, where we'll let it boil uncovered on high for about 10 to 20 minutes. Here's a bonus tip. You can save time by brewing multiple colors of dye at once if you have more than one cooking pot and element to work with. Now, we'll remove our pot of dye from the heat and use our sieve to add the liquid to a jar while straining out leftover plant matter. You can add a bit of white vinegar to your dye. Overall, this will help the egg soak up the dye, brighten the colors a bit, and prolong the shelf life of our natural dyes. Submerge your egg into the jar. If you're using a mason jar, you can screw the lid on to contain the mess. Repeat steps 1 to 6 with all of your different dye materials. Following are some examples of colors you may achieve with the featured dye material. Keep in mind, though, that making dye with natural materials is a science and an art with lots of experimentation involved. When starting out, we will often be surprised by the colors we achieve with different materials, and this is half the fun. Here's a fun fact. Red cabbage, which is a pH indicator, can result in a wide range of dye colors, including pink, blue, purple, and even green, depending on the pH level of the water that you're using. Letting your eggs sit in the dye for longer or shorter periods of time will increase or decrease the intensity of the color. Check on your eggs after a few minutes or leave them in the fridge overnight. When an amount of time has elapsed, remove your eggs from the dye and let them dry. At this point, you may choose to buff your eggs with a rag or give them a brighter finish by polishing dry eggs with a bit of olive or vegetable oil. Thanks for tuning in to this month's virtual craft night. You can check out previous craft night ideas on our Facebook and YouTube channels. And be sure to check out next month's craft night, where I'll be showing you how to create a variety of seed starting pots from items you may already have on hand.